Hello and welcome to Popcast. I'm Ryan.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Alfie.
Yeah, so we have got two special guests today with Emily and Alfie. Alfie is making a return from the Suicide Squad podcast.
I wanted to come back. It was really fun last time.
Well, we've got a fun topic today. This one was actually suggested by you, Emily.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. So we'll be discussing music in film and TV and the importance of it. So I think to start off with, I think we just might want to talk about why is music important to film and TV?
I think it's quite moving because music is so powerful and it can do so many things to people. Like it can improve their mood.
Yeah.
And also it can also make them feel quite upset. Because I was saying to you before this, wasn't I, about how when it's a sad scene, music can really move you with the character and it can connect. You can connect with them. Say they're in hospital and they're dying and it's just gone downhill and it's really sad.
Yeah.
You can you can have the music can just soften it, or it can be both ways. There's sometimes in films where they play happy music because then it goes on to the characters having feeling happy.
Yeah.
For going on to greater things and they're not in pain.
Yeah.
Or, sometimes it can be sad music depending why the person's died.
Yeah, so it can sort of convey an emotion.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it can sort of convey an emotion almost.
Yeah.
I feel an emotional scene, if it has got music, it can really help it a long, long way.
Yeah, you can totally connect with a character. And I feel sometimes you can connect with them so much. You almost feel like they're your friends and family and you need that tissue box right next to you.
Well, me and Alfie do a radio show, which is all about music and film and TV. So this is right up our alley.
Yeah, this is part of the reason I came for this one. Was I know this.
He knows what he's talking about.
Good suggestion there.
He does the research every week.
I hope I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I should hope so too.
For a few months now, haven't you?
Otherwise I'll start looking for a new co-host.
Got competition, Alfie.
So I think music got a really important significance to film and TV. I also think film and TV is a very collaborative medium.
Yeah.
When working on things, it's a bit of a visual element, cinematography, a bit of photography almost, music, writing, directing. It's a very collaborative art form, and if one of these aspects falls short, it can really sort of affect the outcome of a project, I feel. So I think having a really good soundtrack and a really good score on a film or a show is really important.
It can help both parties really, can't it? It can increase because you've got some musicals.
Yeah.
It's you've got the cast recording. They could have a really good singing voice, and that can then what gets them into the next job. Yeah, couldn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of also, in terms of musicals, it's a window for some music artists to get their way into film.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
It's happened in the past. Elvis Presley did it a lot.
Oh yeah.
Way back in the day, he had a lot of films that he was in because of his singing voice. Yeah. Have you seen the film Elvis?
I've seen scenes of it.
Yeah.
Oh, who's the guy? Isn't it Austin Butler?
Yes.
The main character.
Yeah, he plays Elvis. That sort of goes over aspects of his film career.
Oh wow.
Because his agent made him do a lot of music.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. For
film and TV, which he sort of ended up presenting in the end. But for the most part, it was a way for him to sort of branch out almost. Yeah. So I think in that aspect, music was very important for those particular films because literally the artist that was singing the music was what was setting the movie. And
sometimes it's it's what makes them.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember. I've watched a lot of Pitch Perfect films, and I think there's a character in it. I think it's Hayley Stanfield. She has then come out from doing Pitch Perfect and then become a singer.
Okay.
I think it's Hayley Stanfield, or if it's not Hayley Stanfield, it's a Hayley someone.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's come out from doing Pitch Perfect. I think 2 or 3, and she's then gone on to having a successful singing career because of being in a film.
Oh wow. Yeah. I've never seen Pitch Perfect. That's really interesting to hear.
It's more a cappella. So it's really good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So what do you think was the key difference between soundtrack and score? This is more of a Alfie knows the answer.
Well, the soundtrack is just collection of pre-made songs for a film, and the score is this music basically composed and made for the film. It's like your Hans Zimmers and Michael Giacchino's. And I'm just saying names.
No. Oh, I've learned something there.
Yeah.
Because, of course, like with some soundtracks, they are more specific to the film, like Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
Like before Greatest Showman came out, you've never heard them songs that were in the film.
Well, things like musicals, like The Greatest Showman, they sort of teeter on being soundtrack and score.
Yeah.
Because those songs are made and performed specifically for that film or show, whereas soundtrack is usually a collection of pop songs or songs that are popular at the time, or even not popular.
Or some of them are like even written for the song, because I think I haven't watched the film, but I've listened to the song, and because I think it was Ed Sheeran wrote I think it's Cholesterol.
Right.
I probably said that wrong, but the song that he did, Cholesterol, was made for the Pokèmon film. So would that be like relevant to what you were saying about the score or the soundtrack?
Yeah, I think it's Celestial.
That's the song. I knew I probably got it.
I don't think it was made for a film. It was actually made for the game, which came out last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I beat that game last year.
Yeah.
I was really thrown for a loop because suddenly Ed Sheeran was singing.
That's one way to close a game out.
I mean, yeah, I was expecting it. I knew he had made a song for the game.
Yeah. It's the game, but wasn't there a Pokemon film?
Yeah, there was Detective Pikachu, which, when was that?
That must have been
2018?
2019?
Okay.
Yeah, some around that sort of time. I quite enjoyed that film. It was quite good. I hope they do something similar later on. But yeah, no. I think there was some songs composed for that. Produced for that film. I don't remember off the top of my head. I mean, Pokemon does a lot of collaboration with artists. I think they did one with, I'm trying to think of who it was. I don't remember who it was, but it was some rapper before. So it's not unknown for them to do like collaborations.
No, sometimes they get if it's an artist who haven't actually like started in like the top of the charts or the Billboard in America, it can actually get them into fame, can't it?
It can
get them like that platform of listeners.
Yeah, well, this is why soundtrack, I think, is used a lot for film and TV, because it helps bring songs which have either fallen out of relevance or have never been relevant, and helps elevate them.
Oh yeah,
I think James Gunn does it quite well with a lot of his soundtrack, with Guardians of the Galaxy and Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah.
He took a lot of songs that not a lot of people knew beforehand, and then sort of put them on a platform which allowed them to be connected to something, getting them out there. Which now a lot of people know a lot of these songs. Wow. You know, people know like Brandy, Fox on the Run. I'm not saying people didn't know these songs before, but these are songs which sort of have either never been relevant or fallen out of relevance, which since have fallen back into relevance. Because
was it a lot of like new songs, or was it like old songs that he was putting in?
Or in
Guardians of the Galaxy?
It's mainly 80s, 70s stuff.
Yeah. Well, one quick thing I've noticed as well is like I heard like "Come and Get Your Love" being used in like an advert recently. So it's like that song's sort of been. See, that's sort of known as the de facto Guardians of the Galaxy song. That one's like the.
I think I know which one it is. I've never watched Guardians of the Galaxy, but I know. But
That's shocking.
There is a song that is obviously in it, and it has been used for quite a few adverts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very repetitive, like very catchy.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think that is the key difference between sort of soundtrack and score, is that one's made for that particular project, and the other is just songs pulled from the cultural zeitgeist, I guess. It's pulled into a film. It all gives people something to latch onto and recognise, I think, as well. What are some moments that you feel music has helped a scene? So like, you know, a scene's happening and there's the music that sort of elevates it. Are there any moments that will stick out to you?
I think there's one you'll agree with is racism.
Oh yeah. We talked about this in the Suicide Squad podcast.
Okay.
So there's this scene. If you describe it to someone, because you haven't seen the film, have you, Emily?
No.
So I'll describe it to you. This will prove my point.
It's like an audio book for me.
Yeah, so when you describe it to someone, it sounds quite stupid. There's this scene where this character whose power is to control rats sends this city's worth of rats after this giant starfish to kill it.
Okay. Can't get in a picture.
You would have to see the film with like a context.
Someone stabs it in the eye and they all crawl inside and tear it apart from the inside out.
Okay.
it's it's quite a bizarre scene. If without the music, it would just be weird.
Yeah.
And kind of unsettling. But it has this really beautiful and like amazingly composed piece of music for it. And it's one of those things that when I first watched it in the cinema, I cried during that scene. Because it's got, it zooms in on that character's face and has a flashback about her dad, and it's really emotional. And it would not be nearly as emotional as it is without that piece of music.
Yeah, it almost gives like context to it, doesn't it? It really helps you like feel the emotions with the characters.
Well, it's like what you were saying earlier, like music can inhibit an emotion.
Yeah.
And sometimes without that music, there would just be no emotion there. I would admit the music makes that scene. Without that music, that scene would be weird.
Yeah, it's like it's one of those things that only James Gunn can make a scene about rats ripping a starfish apart. Like beautiful.
Yeah, only he can make that beautiful.
Well, it sounds quite gory, but almost like
it is quite.
You needed that music. To, like,
I mean, it is quite a gory film, admittedly, but. But yeah, that scene is actually amazing.
But you were saying about how like music can help like really tense moments. I watched Bullet Train a few months ago, and it's almost have you watched it?
Yeah, I went to go see it in the cinema when it came out.
It's amazing, and like what I found is like some of the moments were a little bit gory in the fight scenes, and it's that music that's like really powerful that like gets you like through it really, isn't it? And like the slow motion ones, but the music's not in slow. It's like still quite fast paced, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got a really interesting soundtrack as well. That film, like I think you were saying before we started, it's like a lot of pop songs with Japanese covers done of them.
Yeah, a lot of it's 80s to be honest. Like the start of it, I think halfway through.
There was one that I really liked from that film. We've played it on our radio show before.
Have you?
Yeah,
it was
Staying Alive.
Yes, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, the Japanese cover of that is absolutely brilliant, and that plays during the one of the fight scenes in the film.
That's it. Yes.
And it makes it really exciting.
It does.
It makes it kind of funny almost as well.
Like you're sitting on your seat and you're like absolutely like in awe of what's happening, isn't it? With the music.
Is there any other examples of like film and TV music which is sort of like helped a scene that you can think of?
I think another one that sticks out to me is the 80s film, like Breakfast Club.
Oh yeah.
It's like towards the end scenes, like when they've all finished the detention, and of course the song that plays is Don't You Forget About Me by Simple Minds. And I feel like that song really sticks out because it homes in on one of the characters. I can't remember who it was. It was the guy with the long hair. I've made a note of it.
I haven't seen Breakfast Club, so you have to tell me. I need to watch it, to be fair.
But yeah, it's one of. I think it's like almost like the bad boy of the detentions people, and like it's just him like walking like onto the football field, and like got a song going, and then I think at the end like he just like puts his arm up in the air, and it was almost like to salute all of them who have been in detention that weekend, and to say we've been in detention but we've owned it.
Fair enough,
because they get up to like all sorts, don't they?
Yeah, like, I mean I know the premise of the film is like a lot of unlikely people getting together in detention.
They end up being friends really.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what happens in the movie.
I haven't watched it in a while, but
I need to sit down and watch it one day.
I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. Yeah, we could actually do a review on that.
We probably could.
I was going to say.
We'll consider, I think that might be next week's one.
Like Baby Driver.
Things to think about.
Yeah.
Time and a place, though. Time and a place.
Yeah. Just throw some suggestions out.
Take a mental note. But yeah, I think like that song really helps it. It's because it's at a time when the song's going off and like the characters are all walking off, and then it goes back to like the teacher who was like meant to be looking after them for the day.
Yeah.
Reading this letter, what they were meant to like do, like sorry we didn't do everything, but it was really emotive because you could see the teacher like reading the letter, but then you've also got the song and the characters walking off at the same time with like this lyrics going like don't you forget about me. It's just like a phenomenal soundtrack.
That's brilliant. Yeah, it sounds really, really good. So I've got kind of the inverse question to what I just asked is are there any examples of music ruining a scene that you can think of? Because I think I can't, not to bring up a specific example, but I can think of like examples where like the music not shutting up for a minute can sort of ruin a scene. I think sometimes it can either be like really overpowering or too loud.
Yeah.
You know, and I think there's a lot of examples in film and TV that...
Well, and musicals.
Musicals.
Because some musicals, they're quite heavy dominated with music. Because I went to see Chicago. When was it? It was last year. And nearly every 2 minutes, in and went into song.
Yeah.
And it was almost like the musical was orientated around like running off music. Although sometimes with musicals it's nice to have that, because it's almost like you can then go home and listen to the soundtrack and then feel like you're rewatching it.
Yeah.
But sometimes
I do that a lot as well.
It's nice to just have the breaks, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like if it's too overwhelming, it's just too much to get through, and it's just like I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
Have like standalone songs, isn't it? Really?
It's like when I first watched the Rocky Horror Picture Show, I went home and listened to the soundtrack.
Yeah,
and it sort of helps, like sort of bring back the film to you a bit, and helps you remember it a bit. I think because there is a lot of songs in it, but it's not a super long movie, and it's quite well paced. Good music in a musical can help sort of pace a film out.
Oh my gosh, most definitely if there's like moments in the musical that like you're not really getting to grips with and like you're quite confused, and then like the song comes into it and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense now. But like I did definitely get what you mean, like sometimes music can ruin a scene if it's on too much.
Yeah, well one example I can think of is to bring back Suicide Squad again. Not the James Gunn one, but the David Ayer version in 2016. It's got a really good soundtrack. However, it doesn't utilize any of those songs well at all. I think actually you've seen the original Suicide Squad, haven't you? 2016 one, Emily?
I think so, I might have. Can't remember.
It's got Will Smith in it.
Okay, yeah, I think so.
He plays a character called Deadshot.
Okay.
So at the start of the movie, we got Amanda Waller introducing all these characters, which I don't even like that scene in itself because it's just overload. The issue comes where it's also really irritating because each character has like a song which plays during the little opening movie thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so all the character descriptions like back to back as well, so the songs are constantly
changing.
And it's irritating.
Yeah, so it takes what's already quite a jarring scene and just makes it extraordinarily annoying.
Yeah.
Because you've got song after song after song after song, and it's just overwhelming. So like
it's a bit repetitive.
It's repetitive in the sense that you're getting too much of a different thing. You're not really getting to latch on to anything for any period of time. You're just getting thrown into the next thing, whether you want to or not. And I feel that is a really good example of the sort of music ruining a scene. I think with the right music, that scene could have worked. If they just kept something constant and they did less introductions at the start of the film and didn't tell you everything about the characters.
Do you think like that could make a viewer's interest switch off?
I think so. I think you have got to be doing quite a lot to keep a viewer interested, but also if you do too much, you're going to lose them as well.
Like of course, when you're in a cinema, you wouldn't walk out.
No.
But if you're watching at home on DVD or a streaming platform, do you think with that scene, I
think people would switch off.
Yeah, I was going to say.
If you're not a fan of DC or a fan of this movie, you'd probably watch it and go, "That's really jarring."
Yeah,
I certainly did, and I'm a fan of both of those things. I like the Suicide, I like the characters, and I like the source material. I just don't like that film.
Yeah.
The only reason I stuck with it is because I wanted to see how it played out. And it doesn't get any better throughout that film. It's a lot of the same. It's just a bunch of misused music and pointless character pieces. But me and Alfie went over this in our in a previous podcast.
So listen to that one.
So would you say like they haven't used the choice of music wisely?
No, not at all. Because they've got a lot of really good songs on that soundtrack. They've got Bohemian Rhapsody. They've got Fortunate Son. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of really good songs on there.
Yeah.
But they just don't utilize them in any meaningful way.
You can sometimes, when you're watching a film, the film can like be really good, but they just haven't used the film, as I was saying, they haven't just used, it's almost like they've just like thrown them in there, oh yeah, that suits that scene, but like it just doesn't.
Yeah, well the difference here is the soundtrack's really good and the film's just really bad and doesn't utilise it very well.
It's kind of like they sat there, saw Guardians of the Galaxy and went, James Gunn put loads of songs, and it's like, yeah, but you paced it.
Yeah, he paced it and he knew how to use them. And not every song was like in the foreground. Most of it was like diegetically integrated into the scene. A key example I can think of is at the end of the first Guardians film where Peter Quill is dancing to, what's the song?
I haven't seen it in such a
I know
long
what
time.
it is. I think it's not Father and Son. That's from Guardians 2. It is...
what was it?
I've got it on my phone.
Which one's the Groot one? It's like a neon... I know I'm going...
He's a tree.
I was going to say, I know like Groot's a tree, but like, it's at the end of the film where he's just dancing around Mr. Blue Sky, isn't it?
I Want You Back. He dances to Mr. Blue Sky at the start of the second one.
Oh, okay.
Baby Groot.
Oh gosh, where is it?
It's like, I'm trying to think, I haven't seen the film in such a long time, and that's wrong. I need to go back and watch Guardians.
Yeah, me too.
What platform is it on?
Disney Plus.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got the DVDs because
Alfie doesn't have Disney Plus.
There's so many streaming platforms.
Yeah, to be fair, it's quite a lot to keep up with.
I basically just I've got pretty much the entire MCU up until Endgame. Now I've got Spider-Man No Way Home and Far From Home.
All right.
And then that's sort of where I just start, which I'll definitely be getting Guardians 3.
Yeah. Oh, the song is Ooh Child.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking of the lyrics. I could have probably just said one of the lyrics and it would have been the right title of the song. Anyway, yeah, that song is really well used, whereas a bunch of random music at the start of Suicide Squad isn't. So yeah, I do think music can ruin a scene, definitely, if used incorrectly. Yeah. You know, whilst it can also inhibit an emotion and make you, be used well and done properly, it can just be overwhelming and be too much and just sort of ruin something that's, Yeah,
like you can almost be like vibing to the music, but not actually concentrating to the
also, I
scene.
think there are points in a show or a film where there just doesn't need to be anything happening. Just to let the audience breathe for a second. One comparison I'll draw actually is, The In-Betweeners.
Oh my gosh, I was watching that last night.
Yeah. So the UK version, it's good. It's a really, really good show. And it has got music in it, but it's not overwhelming. I have seen like 1 or 2 episodes of the American version. I dropped it immediately. Awful show. One of the issues is there is music constantly throughout the show, and it does not stop whatsoever.
See, I've never seen the American one.
Don't.
I am intrigued though.
No, it's bad.
I don't know where you can see it though.
I watched it illegally. I would usually feel bad about it, but because they ripped off our show, I didn't feel so bad about it. So I definitely think that's...
has it ruined the In-Betweeners UK version for you?
No, absolutely not. It's made me appreciate it more.
So you're like a die-hard British TV fan?
Yeah, I mean, there are certain things that I think Americans can do better. I mean, my favourite comedy of all time is an American comedy. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I've seen that advertised.
Yeah, I love that show. It's really, really funny. It's got a lot of quite dark humour, which when a British comedy tries to do sort of dark humour like that, it just comes across as very snide and
it does, doesn't it?
uncomfortable because it almost feels believable. There are certain shows which get away with like In-Betweeners and stuff like that. Yeah. The In-Betweeners, there are certain instances where I think British TV can get away with dark humour, but It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It deals with some especially dark topics, which it does it in a really funny way. But it's one of those shows where it's like not for the faint-hearted. It probably wouldn't be for you, Emily.
No, it'd probably go over my head, wouldn't it?
Well, not so much over your head, but it is quite gross out sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes a lot of the humour does sort of base on how much can we get you to hate these characters, because you're not meant to like the main characters in the show. You're meant to think they're terrible people.
So what is it like actually based on?
Oh, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
It's these like 5 people that own a bar together in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And each episode there's something that happens, or there is like a scheme that they want to put into place. And it usually ends up backfiring majorly against them, but they never learn their lesson, and they usually end up ruining the lives of everybody else around them. Basically, the best way I can describe the show is imagine 5 of the worst people you could possibly imagine, and then amplify that by 10, and then put them in a bar in Philadelphia.
Now you're making me want to watch this.
It is a really good show. I would recommend it. But like the first 3 seasons.
Is it a hard watch to start with?
To start with, but like once you get to like season 4, it really, really finds its voice and it really picks itself up.
How long are they on for?
Like 25 minutes an episode.
Oh, okay, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Then.
So I mean, I quite like the first 3 seasons still, but like I would admit they are the hardest to sit through. Yeah.
Okay.
It's because like they didn't really find how to pace it properly back then. Now they've really perfected it, I feel.
It's because they've got their audience now, haven't they?
Yeah.
And they know what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, it's been going on for like I think almost 14 seasons now. It's been on for a while.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think before we get too far off topic, let's get back on to...
Always happens.
It's fine. If it makes for an entertaining listening experience is what matters, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the main thing.
All right, so what are your favourite pieces of film and TV score? I think me and Alfie have already said... I've already said Rattism, but I think Alfie might have something else.
Yeah, this is hard.
Banking on you. I'll talk about Rattism for a bit.
Yeah, you talk about Rattism, I think.
Yeah, so Rattism has got this really, really nice sort of guitar motif to it. It is, it's almost like a choir that sings. It's a gorgeous, beautiful piece of music. And, you know, I absolutely love the sound of it. So, yeah, you've heard it before, Alfie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we just talked about, we're not going to go over it all again.
Yeah.
But it really helps the scene that it's in, and it's genuinely an amazing piece of music. And if I had to, I'll go for some other ones while Emily's frantically looking for...
Literally, you've said it and my mind's gone blank. I've got to go on Spotify to see what I've listened to.
Yeah, I really like a lot of the work done in Doctor Who for music by Murray Gold and Sagan Akinola, respectively. They both have done an amazing job for composing for the show. Granted, Sagan's is more tailor-made for the show, whereas I think Murray's works better in soundtrack form. I think there's been some amazing songs. One of the standouts for me is Shepherd's Boy.
Oh yeah,
which was in the Series 9 episode Heaven Sent.
Oh yeah, I think I remember that.
I think that's one of the few ones that you've seen.
Yeah,
it's, for anyone listening, it's the one where Peter Capaldi punches a wall for the entire episode, but that's oversimplifying it. But it's this really beautiful piece of music. They used it for his regeneration as well, and it's a really gorgeously composed theme for the 12th Doctor, and I absolutely love it. Staying on the topic of Doctor Who, more recently, I really liked Sagan Akinola's work. I loved 13, the song for that. You know, it starts off as this quiet song, and then it has this really loud sort of almost like opera-esque singing at the end. It's wonderful. Yeah. Found something, Emily?
I found something.
Lovely. Go on then.
Okay, what was the question now?
What's some of your, what is like... Well, you'll make me put up my notes again. What are your favourite pieces of film and TV score?
Okay, so a score is when it's not made.
No, when it is made for it.
Okay.
So it's
So it's a main theme.
Like a main theme, or something that plays in the background of a scene.
Okay, I think I just did the opposite. Can I go through the ones what I did the opposite on and then come back to you on that one?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so what I was thinking is, this is not made for it. So I'm quite musical based with what I watch.
Yeah.
And one of the musicals that I've watched, musical film, I don't know, is whatever you want to call it. It's the Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again.
Oh yeah.
And of course, they're ABBA songs, aren't they? So they haven't been made for the show, but they just go together quite well.
I've actually got a question for you about Mamma Mia, because
Which one?
But I guess the first one or the second one. Because I was doing the podcast with my friend Dylan the other day, and what the topic was films that are so bad they're good.
Oh no!
And I thought, I'm gonna have a good conversation with Emily about this actually.
Oh gosh, that's one of me and my mum's favourite films. I've even seen the musical twice. It's such a vibe.
Yeah, but the way he described it to me, it was really funny, because it's really cheesy, and she's got to pick between 4 boys or something.
It's a good film. I think people said the second one's quite bad, but I think they did it quite well, to be honest. They brought the past back in. Basically, the second one's all about the main character, Donna, who's played by Mel Streep.
Yeah.
And she's Sophie's mum. And it's mainly the story of how she's met these 3 guys who could be Sophie's dad. To be honest, I am quite confused. I still don't know which one is the dad. Is it Bill, Sam or Harry? I have no idea.
Yeah.
But it's quite interesting, because it's the story of how Donna met all 3 of them. and it gives you the mystery of who it could be, who could be Sophie's dad.
Yeah.
But like we're saying about the music, and there's a song, I think it was, it's the one who someone Bronson plays, Pierce Bronson plays, and with his younger self, they were in France and they were in this restaurant, and then all of a sudden he came and burst into song of Waterloo. And like it was just.
I'm more starting to see my friend's point than what.
Like how they did the song and how they got like the whole restaurant involved. It was like really good.
Okay.
And I feel like it was quite a good film. And it's got some really like.
You have to at least agree that they made the sequel purely for the title alone.
Yes. The song, like the ABBA songs they use, obviously like Waterloo and Why Did It Have to Be Me? They've just. Basically, I feel like they've just used the songs that they left out in the first one.
Fair enough.
And they wanted to give it its own little limelight.
Yeah.
And then another film I've watched, what is a film, not a musical, is Walking on Sunshine. And it's about like these two sisters, and I think it's in Spain it's set. And it's like they haven't been in contact for a while, and turns out that one of them dated the guy who the sister's dating, who she hasn't seen for a while.
Okay.
And she has no idea. She just knows like it was this guy who she was with and got to know, but like the sister's has no idea it's actually him. And anyway, my point of this is that the movie uses 80s songs as its theme. And like there's a stag night, and they do, my favourite song in it is they use this, like all the stags are all dressed up in like iconic like men from the 80s.
Yeah.
And they use the song Wild Boys by Duran Duran.
Okay.
And then of course on the hen night, the women are the same. So you've got Madonna, and their song is Girls Just Want to Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah.
And I think they put the songs together so well and within the scene.
Yeah.
And then there's another one like White Wedding, and I can't remember who sings White Wedding. And the way they do that is so good. Like it's the guy who's going to get married, and it's his panic he's not going to get to the altar, and it just builds, the songs just build into the scene. And they've just been going on what we've said about songs get just put in there randomly, or is there a purpose? But with that film, like there's just such a purpose
that's good
in the placement of the songs.
Awesome. Yeah, I think moving on from that, are there any composers that you like that you've heard in film and TV before? Because I've sort of mentioned with Murray Gold and Sega Akinola. I'll ask Alfie first.
Yeah, not on the top of my mind, to be honest.
I'm thinking I quite like what's his name, Tyler Bates. And, what was it, Ben McCreary as well.
Oh, they're good.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah,
because one of my favourite things from Tyler Bates, one, he did like the score for John Wick 1, 2 and 4.
Because he didn't do 3.
I don't think he did 3.
That's interesting.
It's
interesting for a composer to miss one film.
Yeah, it's really.
If he's like to do a series.
I could be wrong. Don't quote me on it, but he might have done 3 as well.
Yeah,
but he also did the Punisher Netflix series, which has probably some of my favourite score.
I think John Williams is an obvious standout.
Oh yeah,
Jurassic Park, Back to the Future. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
he did the Superman theme.
Oh yeah,
Danny Elfman.
Yes,
brilliant composer. He composed one of my favourite themes for a film ever, and it's the Batman theme.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, the sound of that. He's got like this sort of insanity to his music, which is very unique, and it makes any project he touches sound amazing, which is why Tim Burton brought it to him a lot, I think.
Yeah.
Because he worked with him on Batman and Beetlejuice, and they've both got a very sort of similar sound sort of tonally in terms of, how sort of insane those soundtracks sound.
Yeah.
To sort of match the feel of the films.
I think, I think Danny Elfman's in like a band outside of composing. It's the weirdest thing. Like,
brilliant.
It's like, I can't remember what the band's called.
Yeah.
But it's like, from what I've heard, it is like really bizarre. So it's like.
A composer I love recently, I think, is Ben Foster.
Oh, yeah.
He did the soundtrack for the Suicide Squad. I'm really excited to see if he does any more DC stuff after that, because he did really good in that, because there was a lot of guitar.
Oh, yeah.
Which is quite unique, because a lot of soundtracks sort of is quite orchestral.
Because like one of my favourite tracks was this is the famous Suicide Squad. It's like grungy riff at the start. And then just gradually all the other instruments come in. Just sounds
brilliant. Cool. I love it. I love a variety. Yeah. Have you got anything, Emily?
I have. The guy is called David Arnold.
Oh yeah.
And he did some music for 5 James Bond films.
Oh yeah. I think I've heard his stuff, but it's really good.
I can't remember what films he did for. A really good guy.
Yeah.
Really good guy.
Okay.
Great music for the films. Because like the James Bond films, they're like really, what's the word? Is it captivating?
I guess I could use that word, yeah.
Yeah, like they've got you hooked.
Yeah, captivating is the word.
I haven't watched any of the new stuff, but I've watched all the Roger Moore stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot on in half term, and like it's always good to watch. But yeah, like the music in that is amazing.
Awesome. I think moving on from that, is there a song or a piece of music that's been used in a film or TV show which has stuck with you because of its use in that film or show? Ooh. Emily seems excited. You got one, have you?
I have. Oh god, my head. The song's gone now. But the song's gone. Right, Alfie, you go.
Yeah, I'll go.
I know the TV series, but I just need to find out what film it's from.
Yeah.
Probably my favourite soundtrack is Ben Howard's Oats in the Water.
Oh yeah.
Because that was used in The Walking Dead. And the context of the scene is basically they make a home in this prison. And there's this like plague that starts going around inside, and one of the characters like basically goes, "Hey, I'm an old man, I'm going in the quarantine bit because I'm a doctor or vet, but close enough."
Brilliant.
And he just went, "No, I'm like old, I'm gonna die anyway, like might as well help people out."
I guess so.
And they just play it, and there's a sort of camera panning out of the corridors, this music playing. It just feels very hopeless, and it is like this extreme situation. This feels like
you got this grin across your face as you're describing this hopeless situation.
As I'm describing people dying slowly and horribly.
I think my favourite use of a song is the polar opposite. Is Do You Want to Taste It by Wigwam.
Oh, I'm not.
Alfie's no stranger to my love for this song.
You try to play it whenever we get the opportunity.
It was used as the opening theme for Peacemaker, and which isn't usually enough for a song to stick with me for that reason. Like usually I'll like the song and then I'll download it and listen to it. But it's got this sort of dance number attached to it at the start of every episode of the show. And so it always gets me really excited to watch the show. It's one of my favorite uses of a song ever in a film or a TV show, because every time I listen to that song, I can see it.
It's like
you know how you can like hear an image sometimes.
Yeah,
I can see that sound.
It's like, because I don't skip like the title cards, but Peacemaker was the one where I was like, I am really not skipping this.
I never skip, but like Peacemaker is like, sometimes I find like title cards annoying. Like the opening theme for Community, really good show. The theme is really grating if you're binge watching it.
Yeah.
But Peacemaker, like I never got tired of it. I don't think I ever will.
Yeah. I don't blame you. It's such a good intro.
Have you got one, Emily?
I have, but like it's just.
Can you describe it?
Okay, I can't remember. Oh my gosh. So the series It's a Sin.
Oh, I love that song.
And I can't put one song in it because there's 80 songs that are in it. They're just amazing, and they're so.
Running Up That Hill was in there before Stranger Things got to it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was watching it. I thought that's Kate Bush.
And it's just a series, and I use so many phenomenal 80s songs, and it's like there's a bar scene, and I can't remember what song it is, but like it's such a party 80s album, and like it just follows into the next scene, and they just use the music really well of how to like move on to each scene.
I think I know what you're talking about, and I also don't know the name of the song, but that was a really good scene.
I was going to play it, but of course like with licenses we can't play it.
But
like it's like it's the music makes you pay so much attention to what's happening. It's like a fast pace, and then it's like same in the scene. It's like fast.
Yeah,
I didn't really explain that well, did I?
No, that was good. It was good. I think we got an idea of what you meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the music reflected the scene.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay, I think one final thing before we finish off. Do you think music and composers deserve more love when discussing film and TV?
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, they do.
Because I find a lot when talking about film and TV, someone will say how much they hated like a show or a film. But then like I think you've got to remember, because like I was saying earlier, a film or a TV show is such a collaborative effort. There's got so many people working on it. It's good to appreciate each aspect of it. Or not appreciate it for that matter. So I think when talking about film and TV, it is important to discuss the music behind it as well.
Yeah,
it really is,
because like we've been saying the entire show, it can make or break a scene.
It can. And I think going on from that is like, when at the end of a film or end of a series, I think there does need to be a note on like, you can then go on and find the soundtrack, because some people might not even know that there's like a soundtrack for the film or TV series, isn't there?
Well, I listen to a lot of songs now that I would never have listened to if I hadn't seen it in a film or a TV show.
It really is. It opens, like, from watching like films and TV, it really opens you up to like different artists and bands, doesn't it? And what you might not have heard if you hadn't watched it.
Definitely.
But I think there's a struggle on the composer one is, I know more about like the soundtrack, but I don't actually know who wrote the songs and who composed it for that series.
And I think that's why it's important to talk about it, because a lot of these composers, I guess except for like maybe Danny Elfman and John Williams, because a lot of people know who they are. They're like the big two.
Yeah.
But a lot of composers sort of get swept to the sidelines when discussing film and TV. Like even when you're discussing the music, people don't tend to bring up the composer of that music and some of their other work. And I think it's that's a real shame. I think more people should be discussing who made this music as well as the music.
Because like through like our radio show, we've literally the amount of times that I go like, I know it's like Michael Giacchino, Alexander Desplat. Like,
so our Play It Live system is like 90% Michael Giacchino.
It's amazing how much stuff he's done.
It's incredible. And it gives us sort of a platform to talk about that sort of thing. Right then. I think that's all we've got time for today, really. So thank you so much for listening to Popcast. I've been Ryan. This has been Emily and Alfie as my guests today.
Thank you for having us on.
Thank you for being here. So we haven't got anything planned to come up after this, so we'll see where things go. Thank you for listening, and hopefully we'll see you very soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.